Hi there. Welcome to Imperfect Community Church. No, just kidding. Welcome to our home. If you were with us on live this morning or in person, then I'm going to let Tom explain that part, but consider this our do-over. So we didn't want to miss out on the announcements. We wanted to let you guys know that one of our members, Nicholas Wright, we wanted to congratulate him. We had the honor of attending his ceremony this past week where he was honored and received the rank and title of Lieutenant Colonel. It was a great ceremony. His family, his whole family was there. We got to attend with Pastor Billy and Michelle, and it was just such an honor to take part in that. And he, if you know him, then you already know he's extremely humble. He is extremely decorated and just a great guy. So if you get the chance, make sure you congratulate him because he has done far more than I can even fathom. And the ceremony was just beautiful, very patriotic, very honoring to him and well-deserved. So congratulations, Nick. Also wanted to give a shout out. I'm sure she figured she was off the hook, but Lauren Sanders this morning showed up. She was tired of seeing the same dirty diaper in the parking lot for 3 weeks. So she showed up with those little grabbers that you can pick things up with and a garbage bag. And she cleaned the entire parking lot, not only by the church, but all the way around. She picked up probably every single piece of trash there was. So thank you, Lauren, for doing that. You certainly didn't have to, but I'm sure not only us appreciate it, I'm sure all the other business owners in there appreciate it as well. So sorry, I got you anyway. The biggest announcement is don't come to church in person next Sunday. Next Sunday, there's no in-person church, but we are all going to jump online. Pastor Billy has been asked to guest speak at Cinco Baptist Church in Fort Walton. So we are going to tune in, but they're an hour behind us. So if you look on Facebook and find Cinco Baptist, I'm sure that we'll put it up during the week, show you how to get there, but they will they also do a live, but it's at 10:30 a.m. next week. So Sunday, June 8th, no live in person at Imperfect, but you can join Pastor Billy and watch his message from Cinco Baptist at 10:30. So we will look forward to seeing you the following weekend, which happens to be Father's Day. If you'd be willing this week, pray for Jordan Burton. He is going to have a bone marrow biopsy. It's completely scheduled, routine, nothing out of the ordinary or going wrong, but he does have to undergo that. So if you guys would be willing to pray that all of that goes well and that he does great, the results are great, pray for him and Kayla, and we just thank you in advance for that. So with that said, I am going to turn this over to Pastor Tom, who brings us the message today, What is Truth?
Hi, guys. Like Lisa said initially, that I would explain what happened at church today, and to tell you the truth, I'm not sure. So I would like to say it was technical difficulties, but it was probably more mental difficulties, and maybe a little mixture of Satan in my head. But anyway, we're here, and we're just going to have a conversation about what is truth, rather than me trying to deliver some sort of message from a pulpit or as a pastor. So, but what is truth? I am in John 18. We're going to start in verse 37, John 18:37, and this is Pilate, Pontius Pilate, and he's talking to Jesus because Jesus was just brought up on charges for blasphemy and treason, which actually in the Roman times held the punishment of crucifixion and death. So, which is what the Jewish leaders and high priest wanted to happen. So, Like I said, John 18, we're going to start in verse 37, where it says, and I am in the NLT version, and it says, Pilate said, "So you are a king?" Jesus responded, "You say I am a king. Actually, I was born and came into the world to testify to what? The truth. All who love the truth recognize that what I say is true." And with that, in verse 38, Pontius Pilate unloads the question, what is truth? Well, I don't know if Pilate was asking this question as mocking him or rhetorical, or maybe he just doesn't really know what truth is. But there is definitely a difference between world truth and biblical truth. And and as I was diving into this message for the past month or so, I don't know, I was reflecting on some of the differences. So the world truth, the world would have us believe that it is the world would have us believe that all truth is relative. That's what it is. All truth is relative. It just depends on what you believe. For instance, your truth might be yours, even if my truth is different than yours. So it doesn't make sense, does it? Even in a worldly sense, that there can only really be one truth, right? Um, so that doesn't really add up to me. Biblical truth says that there is one truth, and it is defined as what aligns with God's character. Word, God's character, word, and revelation. It is not just about facts, and it has nothing to do with opinions, but it is about understanding God's perspective and what is right in His sight. Truth is a fundamental attribute of God, reflecting his faithfulness, honesty, and trustworthiness. Basically, not basically, but God is truth. And if God is truth, then everything else has to be a lie. It says the Bible views truth as God's self-expression, encompassing His mind, will, character, and being. Again, God is truth. So how do you get to an understanding of God's perspective? Well, simply you ask Him. Ask Him what is truth, and then dive into the Word, His Word. There are different religions of the world, different faiths in the world, but only one truth. This Bible was written by 40 different men over 1,500 years and on 3 different continents. And it all comes together with one purpose, and from one author. How do you dispute that truth? In Jesus was talking to his disciples in John 14:6. And he says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one can come to the Father except through me. And if we look at Exodus 3:14, God is talking to Moses, and he says, I am who I am. Now, usually when we read John 14:6 and it says, I am the way, the truth, and the life, we usually look at that as three different parts, but actually I think we should look at it as four, because Jesus is actually saying, I am. And that I am should be capitalized just as it is in Exodus 3:14, because Jesus is connecting himself with his Father. Now, there are some religions that say, well, Christianity can't be true because we believe in one God. But Christianity believes in three gods, but that's not true either. We believe in one God in three parts. The Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. So my point today, my point that I was trying to get across today in church, and again, I'm struggling a little bit now as well, but that there's only one truth, again. And you have to figure out that truth. And sorry, I keep going back to this thought that I keep having about in Romans, and in Romans 1:8. Sorry, I have to say this, 1:18, and it says, but God shows his anger from heaven against all sinful, wicked people who suppress the truth by their wickedness. They know the truth about God because he has made it obvious to them. For ever since the world was created, people have seen the earth, the sky, through everything God made. They can clearly see his invisible qualities, his internal power and divine nature. So they have no excuse for knowing God. And that's pretty much all I have to say about that, except that God said it, I believe it, and that settles it. Thank you for listening today, and I just appreciate you guys tuning in. Be blessed this week.